Hope is a very weird emotion.
It is.
Why?
Hey, I'm Alex.
And I'm Faiven.
And welcome to Let's Talk About It.
If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel and like this video. Also, we want to hear from you, so comment below during the video.
Today we are talking about when to define a relationship.
Yeah, girl, because sometimes no one talks about it and you just assume you go together, then everybody's feelings are hurt.
Correct.
Let's talk about it. But first, rapid fire.
Is there any exemption you would make if someone wasn't ready to officially date but still wanted to see you?
Yeah, it's called friendship.
Okay.
Group hangs are fine. There's none of the relationship-y things would be occurring. Have you ever asked someone, what are we?
I think I assumed. When you are dating, but not in an established relationship, should you disclose to the person sitting across from you that they're not the only one you're seeing?
No, I don't think you should say anything unprompted. If they ask you a direct question, you shouldn't lie.
Okay.
When is the right time to meet the family of someone you're dating?
I think once we've said I love you, it's fair game.
Wow, so sometimes I love you comes so much later. I mean, you said
we said I guess
early.
Can't relate.
Okay.
Yeah. If someone wanted you to meet their parents, but y'all weren't official yet, would you?
No.
Even if you guys are loving each other and all of that?
If we're loving each other, why aren't we official?
Touche.
If we do blank, oh honey, we go together.
If we are sharing a bill, house, phone, car, we go together. If your partner wanted to wait until marriage to have sex, could you do it?
Yes, I'd be making out real good.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on girls blurring their man's face in posts?
If it's a soft launch because you want people to know you're happy but not ready to share the rest, I understand it. If you're hiding your man, I have questions. Is there such thing as too soon to call it official?
Yes, because love bombers like to do it on the first date. Double dates can be great unless blank.
The couple across from you is arguing and in a bad place.
I've definitely witnessed like passive aggressive combos between a couple before. I'm like, this is so cringe.
So you were not a fan of the soft launch?
No, it's silly. It's all in or it's nothing.
I mean, I was all in. Like my husband and I had called it official, but we hadn't announced it to the world yet. But we were all in as far as we were concerned. We just were baby stepping, letting the world in.
I think we as a society need to create new rules as technology advances, because that used to not even be a thing at all.
At all.
Like, remember Facebook with the statuses in a relationship? Even it's complicated.
Right.
That is insane. Why would you tell the whole world it's complicated? So I think the same thing with Instagram. I know I see the girls with the soft launch of just like holding the hand and they show that. And I know Cammie Crawford from Catfish, she does that all the time, which is so funny. I actually ran into her at an event and I was like, girl.
Is she just as beautiful in person?
Yes.
Good for her.
Yes, very pretty and very nice. Same personality as she has that you see on TV, like the persona matches in real life. And I told her, I was like, I listened to your podcast and I also think it's hilarious that you soft launch hide your guy. Now, top of mind, I want to know what he looked like. She whipped out her phone and she showed me. She's a fine ass black man. That's all I can say.
I can't believe she really showed you that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so she's not hiding him at all.
Right.
She just don't want him on the internet, probably until she gets the ring and all the things. Yeah.
Some people that I have spoken to that, are hiding the face or just revealing a pinky, they believe that as soon as you go public with this person, I think it's kind of fear-based, but they believe that as soon as you go public, it sets the relationship up for failure. Like, now I done exposed you and showed you to the world, and now there's like this timer going on our relationship.
I know there's this unspoken thing where men become more attractive when they're not available. That's why there's this whole cohort of women who hit on married men, like they see a ring and they're like, oh, that shows he knows how to commit. I'm attracted to that. So maybe if the girl posts a guy, she's worried that like the vultures will come out.
I guess, but if you are operating from that kind of fear and concern, then maybe you're not ready for a relationship yet.
I agree. It's insecurity.
Yeah, I didn't I remember the first time I posted Joe and I had an emoji on his face, and I think I posted it on the stories first before main page. Um, but it wasn't at all because I was concerned about somebody taking my man. If my man is that easily taken from
Takenable.
me, yes, then have him. He is
Yeah.
not the man for me.
Yeah.
I was excited and wanted to let people know that I had somebody, but that was all I was willing to share at the time. And then I also remember the first picture when I actually did the hard launch. We took a selfie and like he bought me this suit, which I thought was so boss because I was like, "What? You like shopping? Like, and you have good style?" And you're just like, "Let me buy you this suit. It looks good on you," and it did. And then he got behind me in the big mirror in the dressing room, and like that was our first picture.
When did he post you for the first time?
Probably after I did that. I think I did it first. Because if I remember correctly, then his friends were like, "Yo, bro, she posted you. It's like for real." Like, I don't know why that is like oh, y'all for real. Like when you're out there and you tell the world. And then after that, he did his thing too. Because I'm sure as the guy, like, he was like, all right, and not just as the guy, like when you first start dating, it's like, oh, like, I'm so obsessed with this person, but I don't want to seem too pressed. So it's like, who's gonna post the other person first? Who's gonna say I love you first? Who's gonna? It's all these things and unspoken rules. But I'm pretty sure I posted him first, and then he followed suit.
I think there's a happy medium with that too, because I'm single, so you won't see any trace of a partner on my page. But even when I'm in a relationship, you still won't see a trace of a person on my page until we're really serious.
The most you posted was you were on a date, y'all had charcuterie, and you were with the wine.
Oh yeah, he took that photo of me.
And I only know that because I'm privy to your personal information. But just looking at the picture as an outsider, nobody would ever guess that, oh, she's on a date. He's the one that took the photo.
That's true. Anyone could have been on the other side taking the photo.
Anybody.
Yeah.
It could have been a girl's thing. I don't know.
And he met my parents.
Oh, yeah.
We weren't even together. We dated for 2 months. And I was like, hey, me and other Faiven are going to run this 5K. And he's like, I'm going to come support you. I'm like, okay, I see you. But I was like, pause. My parents are going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
They're driving to the city to be there. And then we're going to go to brunch after. He's like, that's fine. I was like, oh, he feeling me.
Right.
Because
that's a big thing, meeting the parents.
yeah, and you want to, and I warned you, and you don't have to go because we're not there yet, and we've only been dating for 2 months. He still came. Not only did he come, he paid for the brunch and chopped it up with my dad. Didn't even work out. Didn't even ask me to be his girlfriend. It was like, oh, I need to work on myself. I'm like, oh. But it was like he just wanted to hook up. So he was doing the gestures in order to get something, and I wasn't putting out.
Yeah.
And I was like, why is he doing all these gestures? I was like, wow, what a gentleman. This level of chivalry is amazing. But no, I think it
was performative.
It was so performative, and he cracked. Eventually, he's just like, oh, did the parents, I bought the flowers. Like, yeah. What else? Like, it's like, I was Jekyll and Hyde. It was really creepy.
And that's the thing. Anytime that you're not operating from a place of authenticity, I think you're setting yourself up for failure. Whether you're glamming yourself up on a level that you don't want to or can't maintain, you're spending so much that you don't really, have the pockets for, or you're just, I don't know, you're just doing something outside of yourself. Like, the facade is going to
shatter completely. Yes. Yeah. And I mean, in that situation too, like he wasn't ready for anything. And he even moved back home with his parents. I found out later. I wish him the best. Again, no ill will, but like, yeah, how he approached that was so messy and weird, because at the end of the day, I was like, oh, my heart was open to a real relationship. And with him, we had good conversations and stuff. So I'm like, wow, you put in all this effort for 8 dates, because it was 2 months, once a week, but pretty elaborate dates. So you spent all this money, you put in all this effort, all these gestures to hope to get a hookup, when I'm like, you could have had a hookup every single day for the rest of your life if you like committed and you just came correct. But instead you waste 2 months of investment and you still didn't get exactly what you wanted. So I'm like, that's just weird. Like, even Kendrick has a line in the song that says something about like, oh, I gotta put the quote on the screen because I'm not that well versed, no pun intended. But like, he says something about like, you should just stick with one woman. It's just crazy out here. Like, it's not worth it. All this like Playboy stuff, trying to do it. It's too much money. It's messy. There's diseases out here. Like, it's just, Why? Just
Mm-hmm.
protect your peace. But that was a tangent about posting somebody. Yeah, I don't know. I think you said in the rapid fire that you assumed you were in a relationship before instead of
Yes.
asking, what are we?
It was somebody that I knew through my sister, and it was one of those things where we just kind of like, you know, was it right place, wrong time? And an opportunity presented itself, and I was like, dang, well, we weren't able to connect before, and now, the stars have aligned. We're both available. I'm here. I'm visiting, and so his speech was really convincing, and he made it seem like he was really pining over me. He had even gotten deployed, and he was over there thinking about me, and oh man, I wish it could have worked. And so I just didn't understand why and how he was fumbling so hard when he was able, and it was because he lied. Like, all of that was BS. He said whatever he had to say to tug onto my little heartstrings, and so I just kind of, I made the mistake of assuming, and I'm like, oh, well, he wanted to be with me so bad, and now we're together. It would be redundant to go back and say, are like, clearly we're an item, girl. Like, this is how young I was and how dumb I was. And the way that I found out was he was coming over one time, and I didn't have anything to do that day. Lily was in daycare, because sometimes you need to put the kids in daycare whether you got work or not. It's just, my parents will understand. And I was like, oh, you're staying, right? I have, nothing to do. I have time. And he was like, oh, I'm just coming to get my earrings. I left them last time I was over here. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, I have a date. And I was like, oh, wow. Like, I almost choked on my spit. And that was the moment that I found out that we weren't exclusive.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so devastating, actually, especially
Mm-hmm.
for a young woman.
Yeah, I was 20. I like had a baby. Like, my daughter was like 1 year old, so I was like a new mom. I was, pretty freshly single, and just very lonely and wanting to be loved and very vulnerable. And I kind of fell for, I feel like, the first sob story that got thrown my way.
Yeah, because that is a very vulnerable time. And
Mm-hmm.
like, ugh, sorry that happened to you.
It's okay,
That
girl.
sucks.
Yeah.
Young us have been through the ringer with a lot of things.
Listen.
At least enough time has passed, you can look back and be like, ugh, but like you're
Yeah.
not like devastated about it. And, like, I
Right.
have so many stories that are crazy, but I'm not devastated by them because enough time has passed.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm like, oh, I learned something from each scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Like in that case, like there's obviously a lesson there, not
Mm-hmm.
to assume,
Right.
right?
And also, I wasn't in love. I definitely had strong feelings. I had a hurt ego for sure, but I wasn't in love,
Right.
which helped.
That also, I'm realizing, helps me too in my dating situations. I'm not in love with these people. We never get that far. I think that's the issue. It's just like there's not enough compatibility, or the person's not acting in a genuine way. Like for someone to, like that guy we just talked about, invest 2 months in playing make believe, essentially. I'm not actually getting to know you. You're not like actually getting to know me on a deeper level. You want to hook up, but you're just faking it for 2 months. I'm like, dang, if you're genuine about somebody, you can really bond, get connected, have long conversations, stay up till 3 in the morning, like really get to know each other. And you could be in love by month 2 and 3 and all these things. But like, if you're just playing games, you're not going to get there. So me, part of my dating fatigue came in when I'm like, I'm just sitting across from so many people. I'm not in love with any of these people. We're just going through the motions. So I'm like, let me take a break and recalibrate and work on myself.
Right.
And that's definitely what happened. But I don't think I will be public with a relationship unless behind the scenes we're already talking like marriage and stuff, because I'm just too old for that. It's like we're not teenagers, and we're just grown. We know how we are with money. We know how we are with our family. We know our eating habits. We know if we're clean or not. We know enough about ourselves as adults that you can just get pretty deep pretty fast if you have direct conversations.
Yeah. I think, and it's so crazy because in telling you that story, just doubling back real quick, that was 14 years ago. And luckily I've gotten over it, because 14 years is a long time to like be in pain and still like wallowing over the past. But what I can say that I would do differently now is when I realized that I was catching feelings, and I was, my feelings were strong enough to trigger jealousy. I feel like maybe that should have been the moment that I just kind of confirm, hey, what are we? Before we spend any more time together, before this goes any further. Or maybe even, asking, what is your intention here? What are you looking for? But I guess the story was so convincing that I was like, oh, you're looking to be in a committed relationship, because that's what it sounded like. So it's like, why would I have to ask you again?
But the not with you is silent and in parentheses.
Right. And that's where I think sometimes like there's like a level of like, yes, it's still on me to ask and get clarity, but because of the way it was manipulated, like I also didn't think I had to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At least with my husband now, moving forward, like we established that we were official on the second date. But that was because like we were just like, bro, like we both know what we want. We're not kids anymore. We've been talking for a substantial amount of time. Like he always knew that he wanted a wife. That didn't mean that he knew that he wanted to marry me right then and there, or vice versa. But we were just like, yeah, how many more hour-long phone calls do we have to have? Like, is you for me, is me for you? And, boom. And I love that about him. He was not about them games.
Yeah, I don't think there's too many intentional singles out there because hookup culture is still pretty advertised, which is not fulfilling. I don't think it's fulfilling for men or women, to be honest, because I feel like only like the really handsome jock can even pull a bunch of girls anyway. Because like the average guy, if he steps to you, I feel like most girls wouldn't go for it. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's skewed what they advertise, like online and stuff, like thinking like, oh, guys are single and then they can bag everybody. I'm like, no, there is a sexless epidemic happening. There is a loneliness epidemic happening. A lot of people aren't hooking up with anybody. People are just out here single. So I'm just like, that mindset where someone is looking for a husband or looking for a wife, I don't hear people talking about it too much at all. People are just kind of just coasting. And I hate when I end up on dates with guys who are just coasting. And then the what are you looking for intentional conversation can happen in the beginning. And they all say the same thing. Oh, I want a relationship, want a family, but they never specify when. And even a couple dates in, they never specify with you, or that they see potential with you. So it's just like they're just kicking the can down the road and just chilling. And so I've asked, what are we? But at the end, when I realized nothing's happening here.
Okay.
Like, so say it's 5 weeks in, 5 months in, that's happened before, where I'm like, hey, so, and then that's when they're like, yeah, well, whatever word salad. And then we release each other. Cause I'm like, you shouldn't have to ask is what I'm getting at. Like the energy should be mutual and you just kind of, you're both bursting at the seams to be like, yes, I was waiting for you to say something, like excited like that. And if it's not like that, to just alone together.
Yeah, I don't think there's definitely not a one size fits all. I don't think it's like, oh yes, you should definitely define a relationship by 3 months or 2 weeks. Like you just can't. But as long as like the energy is reciprocated and I don't know, you just have to also both be really honest people. I think there are a lot of people out there that aren't really that honest and they're just going to say whatever they want to get whatever they want. And that's not fair. So you almost have to like, I hate that you have to guard your heart to a degree, but if you're still like, in the stage of dating where you're weeding people out and you don't know their intentions, it's like how do you tell somebody to like be vulnerable and share, but also guard their heart at the same time? But it's like that duality,
Yeah, I mean, it's easy for me to take that advice because I've just lived enough so that like, yeah, I'm not going to be naive enough to fall for flowery language again or anymore because I have before, but that's like the wisdom that comes with time and with age. So the actions definitely would have to match the words. And I don't believe in calendar milestones either, like a 3-month rule or anything like that. I just think you have to hit like certain intimacy milestones. Like if you haven't had deep conversations, if one of you haven't shed a tear, maybe, I don't know, then you're not really having real conversations. If everything is surface or everything is superficial, like you're hot, I'm hot, let's smash. Like it's not intimacy. That's just like lust. It's very different from like, let's build a home together and build wealth together. And those are specific conversations.
Like I know I have been thinking so much about how I want to talk to my daughter about these things, about what love is, how it should make you feel, the purpose of dating, the whys and do's and don'ts. And also, how can I deliver this in a way where she really goes, okay, mom might know what she's talking about. She might still roll her eyes a little bit, but she knows what she's talking about. Because I was always so disgusted. If my mom tried to talk to me about birds and bees, anything, it was bleh. And I'm like, all right, is that unavoidable, or is there a way that I can like get through to her? Because I do want her to have healthy experiences and safe experiences, and I know that I cannot prevent that first heartbreak. Like that's part of the process, but I just want her to enter into dating when she does in the healthiest way possible. I want her to have like a strong sense of self and not have her esteem so influenced by a partner. But like that first love is so strong. Like your sun literally sets and rises on that person. And I'm just like, Lord help me.
I have an idea from Universal Auntie.
Yes, please.
To create a safe space. Like it is, no matter how cool of a mom you are,
you're always a loser.
You're always a loser. Like it's not Gilmore Girls. It's not going to be that relationship. So like she will never like, it's like kind of cringe, like talk to your mom about stuff sometimes. So I think maybe give her the option of like, hey, if there are things you want to talk about, allow her or tell her that's okay to like talk to her aunt or something, like be like, you don't have to give me all your information and like, I'm not trying to invade your privacy, but I do want you to be safe and blah, blah, blah. So please talk to an adult, like whoever is a vetted, safe adult.
So I will siphon you all the talking points and you give the advice that she won't take from me.
Essentially, yeah.
Got it. No, but that's really good advice.
Yeah, because it's like, there are things I wouldn't, to this day as a grown woman, I don't want to talk to my mom about. This weird. Like, I'm going to go talk to somebody else. So like, but you don't want the kid to ever think they don't have anyone to talk to.
Absolutely.
So it's just like, hey, like also you won't get in trouble.
Yes.
That is important because there are some things that I'm like, oh, if I say this or ask about this, I'm going to get in trouble. And then you don't tell anyone anything, then you're just like dying on the inside.
We've had that conversation. I told you briefly, 8th grade prom is coming up. And so I wanted to talk to her about just like, drinking and if anybody spikes the punch, if they're still doing that kind of thing. And, then I somehow got to, and when you're even older and when you're in high school and if you guys have been drinking and if you need to come home, just call me. I don't care. I went on a whole and she's just looking at me like, Mom, it's 8th grade prom. We don't drink. Why would I ever not want to be in control of my body? And I'm like, oh, cool. I would never say that at 14. Like,
I think your daughter's a better person than us.
Basically is what it's coming down to. I was stealing wine out of the fridge from my mom's red wine cake at 12. And here my 14-year-old is like, be out of control? Like, no thanks.
I was drinking screwdrivers in a hot tub with my rich friends. Divorced parents of a rich friend. Amazing. House always empty.
Ours was the single mom down the street who worked a lot. So same thing. Cabinets were accessible.
Did you just start singing the Reba song? A single mom who works too hard, loves her kids and never stops. That's all I heard, and you were dead serious.
Yeah, I'm like, girl, I don't listen to Reba.
Oh, it was the opening jingle of her show.
Okay.
I'm a survivor.
I only know the Destiny's Child one.
Oh.
Do you know it?
Like, I'm a survivor. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
know. But like the Reba. Y'all know Reba? Y'all know what I'm talking about? Oh, that was so funny. Anyway, defining the relationship.
Yes. As a parent, I have an appropriate dose of nerves. Also, just I'm excited for my daughter and for her to experience life and, all the things, but more nervous than
Do you think, sorry, hard pivot, because I don't want to lose the thought. People can transition from a situationship to a relationship or from a category, like if you're just a hookup or a sneaky link, do you think they ever graduate to girlfriend?
I don't think it's impossible. I feel like you just have to have really honest conversations about why you guys are sneaking in the first place. Like, is it because the person is dating somebody else? Because that's never going to end well if, you're cheating with somebody. Like, I have follow-up questions,
I see. I know there's people that hang on to hope so hard that the situationship is going to turn into a relationship and they trick themselves because they're like, well, we see each other like 3 times a week and like I make him food and like he texts me all the time. Like, yeah, but he won't claim you And how many months or years are you going to give that guy your energy, and he will never define the relationship?
Got it. I was thinking of more like a mutual situation where it's like, you're busy, I'm busy. Every now and then I just maybe want to clap cheeks, and then we go back to being busy. And then maybe one day they realize, wait, I really like you. And the pillow talk we have after the clappage, let's be more. But you're talking about more of a one-sided dynamic.
I feel like stuff like that only happens in like Gabrielle Union movies. Yeah, but like in real life, everybody wants love, specifically the woman, and they just settle for the guy who's just chilling. I doubt there's two people who are both attracted to each other, have a bunch of stuff going on, are great catches, and they're like, let's just hook up. Let's not even think about being in a relationship. No, one of you likes the other more than the other likes you. Somebody lying. And you delusional. You're just holding on to hope. Hope is a very weird emotion.
It is.
Why is that, God?
It's crippling.
Why you put that in us? Why you put that in us?
Well, it's twofold. I have the answer. I'm not God, but I think I have the answer. I think in like a life or death situation, when you don't know when you are going to be saved because you've been tied up in somebody's basement for X amount of time, hope that you will get out and see your family again is literally keeping you alive, right? That's one kind of hope.
Yeah.
But then the other kind of hope is literally keeping you stuck and from moving on and having healthy relationships because you over here waiting for Timmy to open his heart and he never will.
And Timmy not even thinking about you. He playing video games.
Right.
And you crying. And he just getting to the next level. He trying to beat the final boss. And you literally crying.
Right. But if I had to sum it up in one sentence, like I would say, if you are at a place where you are feeling this person, you are territorial, you're not wanting them to see other people, like you just feel the jealousy stewing inside of you, and you guys have not yet established what you are in dangerous waters.
Yeah. And you're probably prolonging the inevitable. I think when you feel all that, you already know the answer. Because like, why are you feeling discomfort with somebody who's your person? You shouldn't feel that way. So I'm like, every time I felt that way, I know like this is not a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do feel like some people, it's like if I just got out of something and maybe I'm not ready, but I'm open and honest with that with you up front, maybe that's how people are in those like situationship gray areas, because it's like I recognize that like you're a good person. I'm just trying to wait a little bit to call it something. But even then, I mean, the other side of that coin is like, if you're not ready to call something yet, then maybe leave a little bit more healing time in between the first relationship and the new relationship.
For me, I think the best time to define a relationship is when you genuinely feel like you want to be in one and you have to rip the Band-Aid off. You can't go in assuming the answer is going to be yes, and don't assume it's no either. Like, be prepared for either outcome. But one layer on top of that is if they say no, you have to be prepared to walk away.
Yeah.
Because then you're just going to waste time and you're going to just linger in the situationship. Someone either wants you or they don't.
Yeah. And you can't operate in fear. Oh, if I call it something, then, something's going to go wrong and everything feels so good now. I just want it to stay this way. Like, trust that making your relationship official is not going to be what ends y'all. Like, if that's the case, the relationship maybe wasn't that solid to begin with,
Yeah, there are some people that say like, oh no, this is like a true thing, not to just say this. People get divorced, like they'll be together 10 years, but they're married the last 2, and then they break up.
What do you mean?
They say marriage ended the relationship.
I've never heard that.
I've seen it before. Just Google that. Google marriage and then like, I don't know, maybe they weren't living together before, maybe, I don't know. I don't know how you don't know someone well and then you still like, let's get married and combine everything. And you're like, oh, actually, I don't like you. I've never, it's never happened
Maybe
to
if
me.
It's a means to an end. Maybe you're like, well, I want a baby. So you're my partner, And
I have a friend who did that actually.
It's not going to end well.
No, it won't.
Children don't fix things.
No, they don't. But she got her baby doll.
Listen. On that note, we want to hear from you. When is the right time to define a relationship?
Yes, let us know in the comments below, and be sure to like and subscribe and follow us on Instagram and on TikTok. Share the stories of when you was doing too much and you try to get that man to be with you and you know good and well he don't want to be with you. Anyway, goodbye.